A Child Custody Guide. Chapter 1. Child Custody Guide. Child Custody 1. Love your children more than you hate each other. I saw a story in the media where a divorced couple were feuding over the custody of their 4 kids, but then their eldest, a 21-year-old boy, was killed in a car accident, so they came together, realized they were both the parents of their children, threw out all legal proceedings and even custody agreements. They simply agreed that they would parent the kids as parents. They would each decide on a course of action when and as desired. No legal mumbo-jumbo, they would just parent together as a divorced couple, and they would be pleasant when they were with each other. This is the most sensible thing I ever heard about child custody. It's called co-parenting, and it means cooperating rather than fighting through the courts for a structured plan. Simply parent as an informal agreement between each other that you do what's best as the situation warrants it. There's no set time for visitations, you simply do it when you both think it's right and when the kids want it. The most basic rule for the sake of the kids when getting a divorce is for the both of you to sit down together and tell them the real deal, emphasizing that it just didn't work out and it's not their fault that mommy and daddy are breaking up. Because there are so many child custody cases and subsequent disputes, some jurisdictions are creating special courts to handle these matters. The court broadly defines child custody determination as in the best interests of the child. The judge makes the decision based on all the information he or she has about the lifestyles of each parent. Rather than a court procedure, in many places you have the option to have the child custody settled by mediation. Try to work out the custody situation privately before the divorce and put the agreement in writing. Life's too short. Be friends. Cooperate. At least greet him and invite him in when he comes to pick up the kids. Have a businesslike, friendly, easy atmosphere. Typically, the mother gets custody, the father gets visitation and pays child support, which goes down if the mother remarries. Don't try to get custody just to spite your wife. Kids are a hassle. Think hard before you want to fight to get your kids to raise them as a single parent. If it ends up going to trial, you will typically try to get witnesses like your friends to say that you're great and your spouse isn't. Try to make a good impression at trial. State and prove why the spouse is a poor parent. Show how you're actively involved in their lives. Be prepared to prove that the child's life will be disrupted if he's forced to move. If you win and the children really don't want to be with you, get a clue and let them go to the other one. It's really very simple. Don't treat the children as pawns, treat them as people and be flexible about custody arrangements. Keep the children children. Don't let them grow up too soon. Get a few books on raising children at the number 649 section of your library. If both parents are from different cultures, respect them both. Instead of having a rigorous schedule like every weekend, etc., have it more relaxed and friendly, like when and as required. It should get easier as time passes and you each develop your own lives. Try to establish projects and responsibilities that each parent has with the child, like healthcare, religious classes, teaching them computer, taking them to karate classes, etc. The father can get custody if the wife's a drunk, a floozy, mentally ill, or just all around incompetent. Try to do what's right for the child and what they want. Don't stick them with a parent they don't want to be with. The judge tries to be objective but has biases and often doesn't see the accurate, total picture. Children don't have a lot of say in the final decision, but the judge will listen to them. Sometimes parents will go through a mediation process to decide on custody issues. An in-camera situation is a private consultation in a judge's office conducted in contested custody cases when the judge wants to interview a child in camera to talk to the child face to face without the influences of his father or mother around, in order to discover what the child really feels about his parental preference, if any, for living with either the mother or the father. Such sessions are usually confidential and the record sealed from the public record. Ask your lawyer or court clerk about a mediation hearing. Try not to split up the kids. Child custody can easily be changed if both parents agree to it. If not, it may be a tough battle in court to get it changed. If the wife violates your child custody/visitation rights, or if you violate child support payments, that doesn't give either the cause to deny the other their legal rights to the child. If violations occur, go back to court rather than take the law into your own hands. Gray areas in child custody laws and child support modification laws allow grave injustices to be enforced from time to time. Be ready to have your life rattled if you're going through these processes in the legal system. Physical custody is the parent who lives with the child. Sole custody means only one parent has custody. Divided custody is when the child lives with each parent for part of the year. Split custody is when each parent gets sole custody of one or more of their children. The best interest of the child is a subjective term that means different things to different judges. Some of the criteria the judge goes by are: parents' desires, child's desire, several children, judge doesn't like to split children up from each other, general atmosphere, such as if a 10-year-old girl is living on a farm with all men, that's not really good for her, or a little boy stuck in an apartment in the city when the husband has a farm out in the country. Lifestyle of parents, generally, who's the most stable and well-behaved. Other factors like grandparents, religious foundation, standard of living, etc. When the wife gets sole custody, the husband still has visitation rights, and if she interferes, she can be arrested for violating his visitation. The most basic right the child has is to be safe, so if anyone physically, emotionally, or sexually abuses the child, they can easily lose their rights to the child. A good parent tries to nurture the child to make him or her a better person. Refer to the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction Act for situations where one parent moves out of the state. Child custody 2. Kids almost inevitably feel guilty about causing the divorce, so you have to constantly reassure them with positive, warm contact from both parents. Try for shared, equitable visits. Don't use the kids as pawns in your war by trying to poison them. I've seen several cases on court TV where the kids were totally brainwashed into hating their fathers. It's a major sin for the mother to poison the kids' minds against their father. You can't go lax or inconsistent with discipline just because of the divorce, otherwise the kids might go off the deep end. This is the time they especially need a strong parental figure for structure and order, otherwise they will go to pieces. Seek moral support if you have to through friends and groups like Parents Without Partners, 800-637-7974. From a psychological perspective, they say that successful child rearing after divorce equals the ability for the couple to detach from their failures as married people and focus on the parenting role only when interacting with each other. Keep conversations focused on the children. Leave the marriage in the past. Keep the discussion on nuts and bolts matters, not personal issues like how you're feeling today. Try not to use the kids to get back at the ex-spouse by bad-mouthing her. Children are often willing accomplices, siding whoever they're with in order to gain more favor with each, but overall, it's a negative situation for everybody. Try to keep the routine, form of discipline, the gifts, perks, etc. in each house equal for the child. It's no good if the mother tries to impose standards, then the father spoils the kid and lets him do what he wants. Shared custody works best with both cooperation and allowances for differences in parenting styles. Live and let live. Don't try to be controlling. Accept each other as is. When there are major issues, such as criminal activity or poor grades, the parents should meet, talk it out and make a joint plan with each other to help the child as well as they can. If you have something to say to your ex-spouse, don't use the kid as an intermediary. Talk to him or her yourself. Kids can mess things up both intentionally and by accident. If two ex-spouses can't get along enough to talk civilized, get someone to deal for you like your new spouse or your mother. It always comes down to love over all the petty bickering and the ego games. Rather than playing the game of trying to keep the kid's for yourself as much as possible, thereby depriving the ex-spouse because he needs to be punished for the divorce, be thankful that you've got someone willing to take the kids for a while who loves them. Develop a mutual commitment to put the children's interests first. Come to similar ideas about how to raise kids. Share the costs of raising the children. Be fair. Try to maintain the same standard of living in both houses. Be civil, friendly, and mature in your dealings with each other. Put your kids above your personal problems with each other. Explain major family events to the kids as a couple even though you are split up or in the process of splitting up. Talk regularly about the kids. It takes time for kids, parents, friends, and family to adjust to new arrangements, new visit-on schedules, etc. Try to maintain good relationships with the children's grandparents, your parents-in-law. Come to terms with the divorce. Answer the children's questions as well as you can. Be sensitive to their naive minds but be disciplined too. The parents should try to be friends. Make the best out of a bad situation. If one parent is not particularly interested in dealing with his kids, accept it, write him out of their lives as much as you can legally and move on. You might find a new man willing to adopt them when he marries you. Don't spoil the kids because of your perceived shortcomings. Always keep a moral standard with them. Be nice to each other. Celebrate holidays in an equitable way, often a little of each at each house. Be civil. Custodial parent moving away. When the custodial parent wants to move, the divorce court judge has to make a decision. Either the custodial parent isn't going to be allowed to move or the non-custodial parent is going to be left behind. Joint custody/shared custody/co-parenting. Shared custody is considered the best option for amicable split UPS because there are no hard and fast rules from the court and there's no leader. You just decide among yourselves with every new situation as two civil adults. When you agree to shared custody, you do what the two of you feel right at any given time. Joint custody is the best when the parents are friends and not violent towards one another. Both parents sharing the upbringing duties as determined by the courts, cooperating with each other. Children themselves say prefer a flexible shared custody arrangement where they have access to both parents over anything else. Assuming both parents are law-abiding citizens, giving one significantly more time or authority over a child is simply not good sense. The courts and the parents themselves should try to make custody as shared as possible. Even in cases where one parent is awarded legal custody, both parents should have the right to reasonable visitation and access. Traditionally, the mother was considered the superior parent and given more custody, but it should be equalized more like in Massachusetts where all cases, except for the misconduct ones, get shared custody. Shared legal custody is where both parents have equal input on major decisions. Often, one parent gets legal custody but both are quite flexible with respect to visitation and other matters. Some children alternate weeks at each parent's home provided they are home-schooled or go to the same school. Others alternate school semesters. There are an infinite number of possibilities, but be wary. Sometimes too much moving around, such as a child alternating week-long stays into two blended stepfamilies, could be tough on him emotionally. Children change too. As they grow up, they tend to want to stay in one spot to get some stability. Many couples are now going for joint custody, which is split up into either joint legal custody, joint physical custody, or both. Joint legal custody means that the couple both decide on decisions as to what's best for the child, such as where to go to school, whether to take swimming lessons, whether the child needs therapy, etc. Joint physical custody is where the children take turns in any of a number of combinations, staying at the parents' homes, not necessarily in equal increments of time. It may be a weekday/weekend split or a school year/summer vacation split. There was a story in the media about a woman given joint custody of her children after her husband was charged with domestic violence. Joint custody means continued contact with the estranged spouse, and if he or she is violent with a track record of it via domestic violence convictions, it's an easy opportunity for him to lure his ex-wife into a position where he can do something to her. In this case, when the ex-wife went to pick up her two daughters, the ex-husband said they're in the house hiding and want her to go and find them. The mother didn't want to disappoint the daughters, so she went in, whereupon he attacked her with a baseball bat, put her body in a garbage can, drove it to his storage locker where he left her for dead, but she made it out alive, having to get her toes amputated because of the cold weather. Because of this case and others, states are passing laws which discourage joint custody in cases where the ex-husband has been convicted of domestic violence or assault on his wife. Learn from this case. If your husband has abused you and now you're in divorce court when the judge suggests joint custody, don't accept it. Tell him or her that your ex-husband is a violent, angry man and joint custody could put you in danger. Go for sole custody. Joint custody website / collaborative law websites. Collaborativepractice.com. sharikIDS.com. scifc.umn.edu, Co-Parenting 10 Commandments, May 1995. Divorceinfo.net / coparent.html, contains co-parenting agreement. hec.ohio-state.edu. kidsinthemiddle.com. kidshare.com, co-parenting information. ncoff.gse.upenn.edu, the co-parenting library. spig.clara.net, shared parenting information group, SPIG, UK. Joint Custody Association. 10606 Wilkins Avenue, La California 90024. 310-475-5352. Fax, 310-474-4859. Parents sharing custody. 420 S Beverly. Number 100. BH, California 90212. 213-286-9171. If man disputes paternity. If a man disputes paternity and refuses to voluntarily take a DNA or blood test, either contact a family lawyer or your local child support office for more info. They can set up a time for him to be legally required to take a DNA test, and if he ignores it, he forfeits his claim of non-paternity. Chapter 2. A Child Custody Website Guide. Child Custody Websites 1. Books about child custody are at hashtag 346.73, hashtag 347.306 and KF547 at the library. deltabravo.net / custody, links to over 100 child custody sites. custodycenter.com, how to modify your custody and visitation plan by yourself. familyeducation.com / divorce / custody. aacap.org/clinical/custdy-1.htm, guide for clinicians evaluating a child custody dispute. thelislibrary.org, info about custody, marriage, etc. americanbar.org/legal services /pro bono /child custody. aclu.org/lesbian-gay rights/lesbian-gay-rights.cfm, child custody. aloha.hg.org/hsc/ppt2/tsld031.htm, unmarried mom has custody rights. am-lrc.org, the American Legal Resource Center, low-cost legal assistance in your state. apa.org/practice/childcustody.html, guidelines for child custody evaluations in divorce proceedings. Attorneys. bannonlaw.com/childcustodyvisitation.shtml, San Antonio Child Custody Laws, Texas. batteredman.com, Indianapolis attorney. beingzara.com/?p=2, custody battle. blacklawoffices.com/familylaw/child.htm. bldrlegal.com, Boulder Child Custody Attorney, Colorado. balgenlaw.com/child_custody.htm. californiadivorce.com, Orange and Los Angeles County Attorney. kinow.org, California Now, info on battered women and custody litigation. childcustody.net. childcustody.org. childcustody.org/grandparents. childcustodyattorney.com. childcustodydirectory.com. childcustodyresourcelibrary.com, clelaw.lib.oh.us/public/miscellaneous/faqs/child_custody, coloradodiversime.ion.com, consumeraffairs.com/parenting/unmarried.html, courts.wa.gov/forms, child custody forms, csj.org/infosurvey_topics/topics_children_custody, custody.com/articles.html, custody.lawyercitysearch.com, custody911.com, custodyattorney.com, custodycenter.com, test and handbook, custodyevaluation.com, custodyreform.com, custodyzource.com/state.htm, custodywar.com/toc.htm, custodyexchange.com, child custody calendar software, datenkids.com/ncfc, National Center for Fathers and Children, deltabravo.net/custody, dimaria-cone.com/custodyvisitation.shtml, Palo Alto, California Child Custody Attorneys, divorceandcustody.blogspot.com, divorceandcustody911.com, divorcegrowth.com/unmarried-couples-child-custody, divorcehq.com/custody.html, divorceinkentucky.com/unmarried_parents.php, divorcelawinfo.com/states, divorcelawinfo.com/state/ga/custody.htm, Georgia, divorcenet.com, child custody websites too, divorcesupport.com, en.wikipedia.org/wiki/child_custody, family.com, family.findlaw.com/child-custody, family.zagarayalaw.com, San Jose Child Custody Lawyer, family-law.freeadvice.com/child_custody, familylawsecrets.com, Father's Rights for Child Custody, fathersrightsguru.info/fathers-rights-child-custody, fathersrightsinc.com, 50%custody.com, Father's Guide to Child Custody, findarticles.com, type in child custody, findlegalforms.com, forum.freeadvice.com/archive/index.php/f-37.html, child custody and visitation, archive, gottrouble.com/legal/family/divorce_child_custody, gottrouble.com/legal/family/unmarried_custody_rights, guardian.co.uk/comment/story/0,1737142,00.ht, handbook/custody, legal handbook for women, child custody, helpadadgetcustody.com, home.clara.net/sbig, shared parent information group, htm, ilcadv.org/legal/cc_divorce.htm, joneschweppe.com/flpage.shtml, Family Law Attorney, Houston, Texas, jointcustody.org, jointcustodyonline.net, jud.state.ct.us/lawlib/notebooks/pathfinders/child custody, Connecticut, judicial.state.ia.us/families/custody.asp, Iowa, kidshare.com, lawcint.org/unmarried mother-shave legal custody, law.cornell.edu/topics/child_custody.html, American Child Custody Laws, law.cornell.edu/uscode/25/ch21.html, Indian Child Custody, lawyer-locator.net/child-custody, lawyers.com, child custody lawyer, lawyersandsettlements.com, legalforms-usa.com, child custody agreement. LegalHelpRightNow.org. Legal-locator.com/statecustody.html. LegalMatch.com, child custody lawyer. LegalMountain.com. LegalServicesForLess.com. LicensedPy.com/child_custody_private_I.php, they spy for men to get the dirt on ex-wives in order to win child custody. Abuse of any child in child custody. martinezhlay.net/custody.htm. mbfamilylaw.com/practice-areas/child-custody.asp, Pennsylvania. menstuff.org/issue/by-issue, look for divorce custody. michaelaneal.com/unmarriedparents.html. myaziforms.com, downloadable guardianship forms. mylawyer.com/family law/child custody. nationalcoalition.net, National Coalition for Family Justice. network2020.com. nalo.com/encyclopedia/div_nc.html. nalo.com/lawcenter/index.cfm. oag.state.tx.us/child/faq.shtml, Texas. osbar.org/public/olsbooklets/family/custody.html. ourhousedivided.com. peoples-law.org/family/divorce/custody/custody, Maryland. Peter Hubert Law-family-law-attorney.com, Family Law Lawyers San Jose, CA. protectiveparents.com, California. Renazo M. Associates.mb.ca, Child Custody Rights. Referral.nalo.com. sacourt.com/family/unmarried/upa.asp, Superior Court of California, Unmarried Parents, Uniform Parentage Act cases. San Jose, California. Child Support and Child Custody. sharedground.com, Child Custody Calendar Software. sharicids.com. stoller-law.com, Lawyers, Southern California. supreme.state.az.us/nav2/divorce.htm, Arizona. texaslawoffices.com, San Antonio Divorce Lawyer. thomasbloom.com/custodyandsupport.shtml. toplegalguide.com. travel.state.gov/children s_issues, 202-736-7000. unh.edu/women's-commission/legal-. volawtalk.com/id32.htm, Child Custody in Virginia. wadv.org/custody.htm. walegalsolutions.com/practice-areas/visitation, Utah Child Custody Attorneys. winchildcustody.com. worldwidelegalnetwork.com. yourlawcenter.com, Law Office of Patricia Hendrickson in Huntington Beach, California. Child Custody Websites 3. Child Custody Websites. custodyzource.com, custodysource.com, state-by-state individuals, groups, and organizations to help with the difficult challenges of child custody. For fathers, mothers, and grandparents. divorceandchildren.com, Divorce and Children, information site for before, during and after divorce. OurFamilyWizard.com, Our Family Wizard, provides divorced families with tools to assist with managing schedules, the children's information, track expenses. PuttingKidsFirst.org, Putting Kids First, online co-parenting classes for divorce. Nationwide court-approved certificates of completion. Helps parents learn how to restructure their family and renew their parenting skills. Association for Children for Enforcement of Support. 2260 Upton Avenue, Toledo, Ohio 43606. 800-537-7072. Association of Family and Conciliation Courts. 329 W. Wilson. Madison, Wisconsin, 53703. 608-251-0604. Fax, 608-251-2231. Custody action for lesbian mothers. POG 281. Narberth, Pennsylvania, 19072-0281. 610-667-7508. Fax, 610-667-0978. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. 800 The Lost. MissingKids.org. National Congress for Men and Children. 851 Minnesota Avenue. POG 171675. KC, Kansas, 66117-0675. 800-733 DADS. 913-202 Fathers. Fax, 913-342-1414. ncfc@primant.com. National Shared Parenting Association. 888-543-2339. Doppeliar@total.net. Organization for the Enforcement of Child Support. 1712 Deer Park, RD. Finksburg, Maryland, 21048. 410-876-1826. Parents and Children's Equality/PACE. 3980 Orchard Hill Circle, Palm Harbor, Florida, 34684. 813-786-6911. Parents Without Partners, PWP. 7910 Woodmont Avenue, Bethesda, Maryland, 20814. 800-638-8078. 800-637-7974. parentsplace.com/readroom/pwp. Information on raising children and local chapters. Women's Legal Defense Fund. 2000 P. St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-887-0364. Custody Handbook. Child Custody Support Group websites. CustodySource.com. State-by-state individuals, groups, and organizations to help with the difficult challenges of child custody. For fathers, mothers, and grandparents. Child Support Group websites. ChildSupport.cc, Father's Child Support Helpline, helping fathers with their child support problems. Groups.yahoo.com/group/ChildSupport in Illinois, Child Support in Illinois. This is the place to share ideas, contact information for CSE and government officials, and websites you can visit to obtain information on child support laws in Illinois. Child custody websites from motherscustody.com/links.htm. AmazingMoms.com, AmazingMoms.com, bright ideas for busy families. MomToMomChat.com, Mom-to-Mom-Chat. CustodyWar.com. CustodyZource.com/state.htm. Moms-refuge.com, Working Moms Internet Refuge. WitnessGuide.com, Child Custody Witnesses Guide for Testifying in Court. ParentingAtAdistance.com, Parenting at a Distance. BusyMoms.com, Busy Moms. MSBP.com, Mothers Against Munchausen Syndrome by Proxy Allegations. ChildQuest.org, ChildQuest International Incorporated. PHP.com, Parents Helping Parents. MommyTips.com, MommyTips.com. Kinderstart.com, Kinderstart.com. SingleMoms.org, MOMS, Moms on a Mission, Single. ChildGuardianship.com, ChildGuardianship.com. Mom-tips.com, MomTips. 4parentsnetwork.com, 4parentsnetwork. Angelfire.com/hi2/Mothers with Angels, Mothers with Angels memorials and grief support for mothers that have lost their children. BellaOnline.org/site/moms, Moms at Bella Online. Articles for moms. KidsCentralStation.com, Kids Central Station nationwide emergency notification service. MomsBudget.com, Mom's Budget. Momscape.com, Momscape. MomsOnTheGo.com, Moms on the Go. ThelabiorofLove.com/pros/motherhood.html, Motherhood Poems. MomsOverMiles.com, Moms Over Miles. MomsView.com, Mom's View. MomToMom.org, Mom to Mom Ministries. Motherhood.com.sg, Motherhood website. Mothers35plus.co.uk, Mothers 35plus. Mothersover40.com, Mothers Over 40. Mum2mum.com, Mum2mum, a meeting place for mothers. PreKSmarties.com/moms, Pre-K Smarties. RealMom.com, Real Mom Club. SecondWivesCafe.com. Custody websites from CustodyZource.com, some for Arkansas, some for everywhere. DistrictAttorney.com, parenting classes. CustodyWar.com/distance.htm, parenting at a distance. 18884mydivorce.com, the Divorce Center. 727-844-7676. DearJudge.com/reviews.html, book can reassure parents doing the right things. ParentingTime.net, online service that can help you win custody. GrandsPlace.com, Grand's Place support groups in each state. CustodyWar.com, win your child custody war book. TotalDivorce.com, connect with a local divorce lawyer 866-200-5399. Arkansas-investigations.com, Arkansas Investigations. Gettysburg North, Cabot, Arkansas 72023. 501-605-0360. Joshua-Evans.com, how to go to visitation without throwing up. NA.org, Narcotics Anonymous. MothersCustody.com, My Child Mother's Rights. ParentsWithoutPartners.org, Parents Without Partners. TSIPrivateInvestigations.com, Total Surveillance Investigations. Arkansas. NCFM.org, National Coalition of Free Men. SecretService.gov/field_offices.shtml. Provides contact information for local Secret Service field offices. FBI.gov/contact/fo/fo.htm. Information on how to contact your local FBI office. CIA.gov/contact-CIA/index.html, provides information on how to contact the CIA. StepCarefully.com, Step Carefully. Fort Smith, Arkansas 72917. Divorces and Child Custody Battles. 888-830-7837. DomesticPeace.com, Arkansas Coalition Against Domestic Violence. AGME.org, Assemblies of God Marriage Encounter. EpiscopalMe.co, Episcopal Marriage Encounter. Encounter.org, Jewish Marriage Enhancement. ILME.org, International Lutheran Marriage. Encounter. Encounter.org/frames.htm, Methodist Marriage Encounter. rc.net/org/wwme_cin, Roman Catholic Marriage Encounter. Encounter.org, Seventh-day Adventist Marriage Encounter. now.org/chapters/states.html, National Organization of Women. NAMI.org, Alliance for the Mentally Ill. Police.government.nz/service/yes/no-bully, no-bully website. irs.ustrees.gov, IRS forms. Officer.com, law enforcement agencies. Psych.org, American Psychiatric Association. APSA.org, American Psychoanalytic Association. APA.org, American Psychological Association. ASAM.org, American Society of Addiction Medicine. Mentalhealth.org, Center for Mental Health Services. ChadD.org, Children and Adults with Attention Deficit Disorder. ChildrenNow.org, Children Now. NationalCASA.org, Court-Appointed Special Advocates. MentalHealth.com, Internet Mental Health. Health.org, National Clearinghouse for Alcohol and Drug Information. NDMDA.org, National Depressive and Mani-Depressive Association. Stand.org, Stand for Children. Washington, D.C. 20009. SAMHSA.gov, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. NetworkForGood.org, Network for Good Charities in One Place. NationalAlertRegistry.com/CGI-bin/shop.CGI ? Product =NAR &affiliate =433357, Sexual Predators in Your Neighborhood. NASW.org, National Association of Social Workers. A list of child custody websites at blog.feedspot.com/child_custody_blogs. ComplexFamilyLaw.com/blog/child-custody. FamilyLaw-SD.com/blog/child-custody. FamilyLawyersMckay.com.au/category/child-custody. grlfamilylaw.com/blog/category/child-custody. KowalskiFamilyLaw.com/blog/category/child-custody. MurphyLawSarasota.com/blog/category/child-custody-and-parenting-plans. A list of child custody podcasts at blog.feedspot.com/child_custody_podcasts. Anchor.fm/Pearson's Lawyers. AtlantaDivorceTeamRadio.libcn.com. Buzzsprout.com/1515010. Buzzsprout.com/3361113. Buzzsprout.com/1294970. Buzzsprout.com/182093. Buzzsprout.com/952027. DaddyGotCustody.com/podcast. HighConflict.libcn.com. JourneyBeyondDivorce.libcn.com. LJLawLV.libcn.com/website. Men'sFamilyLaw.libcn.com. Steve2256.libcn.com. TouchstoneFamilyLaw.com/podcast.